In this video, we will show you China's secret megaproject to become the superpower of the world. A monitor is an individual responsible for calming disputes among nations, possessing such immense authority that their words carry universal weight. They wield the ability to exert control over the entirety of the world. In the realm of geopolitics, we refer to this influential figure as a superpower. In the 21st century, America stands as the paramount superpower, unrivaled in its influence. However, the winds of change are blowing, and China is poised to ascend as a formidable superpower. As evident in the following photograph, displayed here are the leaders of Saudi Arabia and Iran, who, after 7 years, have formed a newfound friendship, catalyzed by China's involvement. At first glance, this incident may appear insignificant, but it signifies the initiation of China's grand scheme. Saudi Arabia and Iran, two nations adhering to the Islamic faith, have a tumultuous history of strained relations. The root cause of this animosity lies in the contrasting religious compositions of the two countries. Iran boasts a significant population of Shia Muslims, while Saudi Arabia is predominantly populated by Sunni Muslims. This deep-seated rivalry between the two sects has persisted for countless generations. It is noteworthy to mention that during the 1960s, the Middle East was gradually embracing contemporary principles and ideas. However, one wonders why certain nations experienced a sudden shift in their outlook. How did these countries abruptly transition into conservatism? The pivotal event that unfolded in 1979 sheds light on this transformation. A group of insurgents launched an assault on Mecca within Saudi Arabia. The rebels claimed that the Saudi royals were straying from the traditional Islamic values and engaging in corruption. In response, the Saudi army valiantly confronted these rebels and ultimately triumphed over them, receiving support from France. Nevertheless, this conflict left a profound impact on Saudi Arabia and the entire Middle East. The Saudi leadership recognized that the populace still needed more time to embrace modernization. In order to prevent recurrent attacks from rebels, they made a strategic shift and embraced certain traditional Islamic principles. In 1979, a similar event took place in Iran. At that time, Iran had a monarchy, but a revolution occurred, leading to Ayatollah Khomeini coming to power. This marked the transformation of secular Iran into the Islamic Republic of Iran. Consequently, both Iran and Saudi Arabia began propagating their conservative ideologies worldwide. However, their relationship gradually deteriorated due to conflicts over oil resources. The majority of oil reserves in Saudi Arabia were located in Shia regions, while Iran held most of its oil in Sunni areas. Consequently, both nations targeted and oppressed minority groups within their respective territories in an attempt to exert control. As a result, the Saudi-Iranian relation experienced further deterioration following these events. In the 21st century, whenever conflicts arose across the Arab world, those two nations provided assistance to conflicting parties. For instance, in Lebanon, Saudi Arabia backed the government while Iran supported the Hezbollah rebels. In the case of Syria, Saudi Arabia supported the rebels while Iran supported the Bashar al-Assad government. Similarly, in Yemen, Saudi Arabia supported the government while Iran supported the Houthi rebels. In 2019, the rebels in Yemen launched missiles at Saudi Arabia's oil refineries, causing significant damage and loss. Throughout these events, the two prominent oil-producing nations of the Arab world gradually distanced themselves from each other until China became involved. China has successfully achieved this remarkable feat, visible to all. China has managed to forge a friendship between these two nations, which undoubtedly stands as the most monumentous news for the entire Arab world in the 21st century. By summoning the leaders of both countries, China orchestrated intensive negotiations spanning 6 days, ultimately persuading them that neither would engage in any form of aggression against the other, thus ensuring lasting peace across the entire Arab world. Previously, America assumed the responsibility for these tasks. However, America's efforts to establish peace in the Middle East have proven unsuccessful. In reality, they have heightened tensions in Afghanistan and Iraq. America's aptitude for being an effective monitor can be questioned. To be candid, America has displayed limited enthusiasm for conflict resolution. After all, their nation's military lobby reaps financial gains from each war. Consequently, how can they sustain their economic prosperity during times of peace? In a classroom setting, a malfunctioning class monitor is swiftly substituted. A similar situation is unfolding in this context. Xi Jinping has been re-elected for his third term in China, which will shape the country's policies in alignment with its existing ideologies. Xi Jinping holds a belief rooted in the concept known as the century of humiliation. According to this perspective, he asserts that just as India was subjected to British colonization and its people were enslaved, the Chinese population was subjected to the scourge of opium addiction by foreign powers. China faced repeated attacks from the British and Japanese forces, enduring a century of subjugation. When the Chinese Communist Party emerged victorious in 1949, China, like India, stood among the world's poorest nations. However, such a scenario shall never reoccur. Presently, China holds the belief that the global population can be classified into two distinct categories: hammers and nails. The term hammers refers to those who possess dominance, while nails symbolize those who experience subjugation. China maintains the notion that unless it assumes the role of a hammer, thereby attaining dominance, it will endure perpetual subjugation. China aims to establish dominance in the economic, military, and diplomatic spheres, while Russia has displayed a militaristic approach in Ukraine. Russia has been widely criticized and portrayed as a negative force in global affairs. This negative perception persists regardless of any potential victories Russia may achieve. China, on the other hand, is recognized for its strategic thinking and believes in the possibility of winning without direct confrontation. China exerts influence over various international organizations, and despite widespread awareness of its alleged role in spreading COVID, it has not faced reprimands from the World Health Organization, WHO. Anti-China videos on platforms like YouTube are subject to demonetization, highlighting how even American companies not operating in China cater to Chinese interests. Furthermore, Turkey, which aspires to leadership within the Islamic world, shares concerns about China's treatment of Uyghur Muslims. The commencement of an economic conflict between China and America is underway, marked by what is referred to as the Semiconductor War. China, together with Taiwan, holds the production reign for vital components such as chips used in mobile devices, computers, and automobiles. The significance of controlling the semiconductor industry extends beyond mere market dominance. It represents a key global power. China may soon issue a direct caution to Europe, urging them not to blindly align with the United States. China recognizes the decline of Western hegemony and redirects its attention toward the Middle East, Asia, and Africa as potential regions to challenge American influence. China is experiencing international progress by assuming the role of a mediator in nations that were previously embroiled in conflicts instigated by America during the 20th century. The Global Security Initiative stands as a significant aspect of China's overarching strategy. Within this framework, 5 key elements have been emphasized. Feel free to pause the video and read them. China's primary focus will be directed toward Africa, Latin America, the Pacific, and the Middle East. The objective is to provide support for both African Union peacekeeping and UN peacekeeping efforts, with a strong emphasis on resolving all conflicts through political means. This text presents an intriguing opportunity for Indian intelligence officers and foreign affairs professionals to thoroughly examine its contents. Upon careful examination, it becomes evident that the aforementioned locations have all been consistently overlooked by the United States thus far, with the exception of South Asia, specifically our dear nation of India, which holds immense significance to our interests. The impact of India in comparison to China is noticeable in our competition. China has established a significant lead over us, particularly in terms of GDP per capita. This economic indicator represents an average annual income of individuals in India. Our current figure stands at $2,250 per person, or $1,840 per year. In stark contrast, China boasts a GDP per capita of $12,500, which is 6 times higher than ours. By 2043, China is projected to become the leading global powerhouse. China is well aware of our support, and India remains its sole potential rival. The future seems to hold unparalleled dominance for China, as it frequently undermines India and disputes our territorial boundaries. While China possesses considerable strength, it falls short of attaining the status of a superpower. Consequently, we are investigating significant resources to safeguard regions like Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh. In light of China's imminent rise to superpower status, it becomes crucial to question how India's leadership and the Foreign Affairs Department plan to respond. Will India sever ties with countries perceived as subservient or succumb to China's influence? These pressing inquiries require urgent attention and thorough deliberation. In Parliament, a panel has suggested that the Ministry of External Affairs should receive 1% of the GDP. The current allocation of 18,500 crores to this ministry is deemed inadequate for enhancing India's global influence. China is swiftly emerging as a dominant force in Maglev technology, while India finds itself entangled in insignificant concerns. It is crucial for us to recognize that our primary challenges lie in the realm of diplomacy and economy. India stands at a pivotal juncture, necessitating a steadfast and enduring stance against China. Achieving self-reliance in manufacturing, defense, and technology becomes imperative. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.